FishTankTV.com, Dustin's Fish Tanks. What's up, guys? This is Brogan. Sam, this is for you. I'm gonna show you guys. Sorry, I got the hiccups, man. It happens, Dustin. I don't know what it is, but anyways, so making a video for you, Sam, and everybody else out there too. This is how to dirt convert your tanks. So this might end up being 2 videos because I think I got to keep it under 15 minutes, but I'm not sure. So anyways, basically you start off right. If you got a tank that's already up and running and you want to convert it to dirt, what you do is you just put the fish in a safe place, right? So actually what I did was I had this 10 that wasn't being used, so I put them in the 10, but a 5-gallon bucket would work fine. You know, you stick these guys in a 5-gallon bucket, and you know, if you got an air stone, stick it in there, and you know, they'll be fine for a few hours. If you have an air stone, they'll be fine for 24 hours. So you know, they'll be fine, definitely. So you get these guys in a safe place, right? Put them in a bucket. You know, if you got an air stone, put the air stone in the bucket, and they'll be fine. Save all your old tank water. You know, save all the tank water. So, you know, you drain it, save all the water that you drain, and then you can start to dirt it, right? So I add a little bit of peat to my aquariums. You want to get organic peat, and you just put a little bit, you know, like in this one, you know, in my 10-gallon, see, Sam, I think you're setting up a 20-gallon. You know, in my 10-gallon, I just used, I think, maybe about a handful. You just want to get a little layer across the bottom, as thin as you can get, right? So, you know, maybe, you know, like that thick. You know what I'm saying? Maybe that thick, if not thinner. You know, super thin as you can go. And that's how much peat you want to use. I've heard somebody say, you know, you still want to be able to see the glass on the bottom. You know, that's how thin you should do it. And that might turn your water a little bit brown, but it'll come out with water changes, so you don't have to worry about that. But that's got good stuff in it. It'll lower your pH a little bit. You know, not very much, but just a little. And it's got tannins and other good vitamins and stuff that your plants and your fish need. So it's good stuff. So I put that down first, and then I'll add my dirt on top of it, right? So you put your dirt in, take like a ruler, and I screwed up on this one and put too much dirt. Definitely don't try to eyeball it. It doesn't work. Take like a ruler or a tape measure and stick it down in here. Do it on like both sides, right? So stick it down in there. Make sure you're at 1 inch. You want about 1 inch of dirt. Make sure you're at 1 inch, and you know, and then start to wet the dirt down, right? So, and you just want to wet the dirt down. You don't want to like fill it up to the top of your dirt. You don't want to do that. You just moisten it, right? Like I had mine kind of coming out of a hose, which I'll show you in a second, you know, out of like a python kind of thing. It's actually a gravel vac, but coming out the hose, and I just kind of held my finger over the top and kind of sprayed it a little bit. And, you know, you get in there with your hands, you mix it around, and you want to make sure, you know, you don't have like, you know, air pockets, and you want to make sure that all the dirt is moist. So you're mixing it up, getting rid of all the air pockets, making sure it's like solid dirt and not a whole bunch of, you know, air or something like that, and it's all spread out even. You don't have like this half is like kind of swampy dirt and this half is just solid dirt. You know, make sure all the dirt's the same texture and thickness. You know, mix it around with your fingers, make sure it's all moist. You know, if you see a dry spot, spray some more water in there, and so on. You know, if you keep mixing it up, you see more dry spots, spray some water in there, mix it up again. But you don't want to overwater it. I did that wrong in this tank, and it's been 2.5 weeks, and it's still kind of dirty. So, you know, what happens is your gravel will sink down whenever you put it on top, and you'll get this layer of dirt on top. So, not, you know, don't overdo it on the water. Like I said, you just want to make sure that the dirt is wet. That's it. So after the dirt's wet, measure it again. Right, so stick a ruler in here and a ruler in here. Make sure it's 1 inch. If it's not, you know, add more dirt or take some dirt out. You know, whatever you got to do. And then it's time to add clay. If you guys look at my other videos, I'll show you how much clay to use. You know, you can kind of get a good idea. You know, you basically sprinkle across the top. You don't want like a solid layer of it, but you know, you basically just sprinkle it across the top, and then you use your fingers and stuff to push it down into the dirt. Right, so before you add the clay, though, you want to level off your dirt, right? Make sure it's all the same texture, and then push the clay down in. And the clay is very important. There was a question: what is it? The clay is. Why is clay important? It's extremely important. Roots suck up 400 times more iron from their, or plants suck up 400 times more iron from their roots than they do their leaves. So that's their main source of food. If you have dirt without clay, you're gonna need like fert tabs. It's still above the other plant substrates, but it's nothing immaculate. Like if you add clay, then it'll be something. You know what I mean? Plants will go nuts over the clay. It's the iron that they need. That's what gives you a good plant, is a lot of iron. You don't want to use too much though, because you can poison your fish. But it is good, and that's why you watch my video. For a 20-gallon tank, I wouldn't use more than 2/3 of a pound of clay. And you just use I think the brand name is Mexican Red. That's the stuff that I use. It's just red terracotta clay. Make sure it's not the gray clay that's been dyed red. It's got to be the red terracotta clay. If you need help finding it or whatever, let me know. I'll help you out. We can find it. It usually comes in like 5-pound boxes, and you want to let it dry out. So that way it's all crumbly and kind of like a powder. And same with the dirt and the peat, organic stuff. Most people on fishtanktv.com use Miracle Grow Organic Choice. I couldn't find the stuff, so I used something else. I used Fox Farm. And I'm in a big city, but Home Depot was the only place that had it. I checked like Lowe's and all these other places, nobody had it, but Home Depot I guess had it. I just didn't want to screw with it. I saw another organic fertilizer that had fish on the front, so I figured I'd try that because it looked kind of cool. So organic soil, organic peat, clay, red terracotta clay. Right after you got that rocking, you put the cap on top. So your gravel, whatever. I prefer not fine sand, because what'll happen is all your stuff will sit on top and your plants won't get the fertilization that it needs, because all the crap and stuff will sit on top of your gravel instead of sink down in it. This stuff's about right. Diana Wallstadt said 2 to 3 millimeters for a good substrate. Eco Complete actually has pretty good size substrate, but it's kind of expensive. I mean, there are other options out there. I think just regular gravel would be fine. They also make a lot of natural looking rocks that are kind of tiny ones like that. That'd be perfect. So you cap it, and however much dirt you have is how much substrate you have. I screwed up on this one. I ran out of gravel. But 1 inch of dirt, 1 inch of gravel. Measure it with the ruler again. Make sure it's right. Do it on both sides. Make sure it's level. Some people want to slope their gravel. If you slope it, do like a 1/2 inch of dirt in the front and a 1/2 inch of gravel in the front, and then 1.5 inches of dirt in the back and 1.5 inches in the gravel in the back. You want it to be 1 to 1. 1 part dirt to 1 part gravel, right? So however much dirt you got, you want the same amount of gravel. You could set it up that way, and you put your bigger plants in the back. That way they got more room for their roots and stuff like that. So now that it's dirted right, what I do, my process is I won't plant it. I'll just fill it up and then drain it all the way down, right? And then I'll plant it, and I'll fill it all the way up again, and then I'll drain it all the way down again, and then I'll add the old tank water, right, that was already in there. I'll add the old tank water to this, to fill it up. I'll fill it up with the old tank water and then throw my fish in, and it's good to go. I'd say do a water change the next day, and then wait 2 days, do another water change, and then wait 3 days and do a water change, and then just get on your weekly water change schedule, right? When I say do a water change, I'm talking 30%, you know what I mean? 25 to 30% water change. So, except for those first two are like 100% water changes, right? Almost. I go all the way down to the gravel as far as I can go. So, and that should be good. And the other thing I wanted to show you guys was how I fill it up. So, Sam asked me, You know what? There's a couple other questions too. What is it? Oh yeah, if my water's dirty, can I use, water clarifier? No, do not use water clarifier. I don't add chemicals to my tank. I may put a little bit of ferts in there, but that's about it, because it's a natural system. First of all, it's gonna be dirty. I guarantee it. It'll be dirty. It'll go away with water changes. It'll go away with water changes. You know what I'm saying? You don't need to add the stuff. It's bad for your system. It's like, going down to a river and the water seems really clear and you want it to be swamp-like water, so you add oil to it. You know what I mean? Oil's not good in a river, you know what I'm saying? So just don't do that stuff, man. The pH buffers, all that crap, don't use any of that stuff. Find out natural methods. There are natural ways to do it, and do it that way. So see, what was the other question? Do I need to use Miracle-Gro? No, I wouldn't suggest using Miracle-Gro. Miracle-Gro Organic Choice, yes. I would suggest Miracle-Gro Organic Choice, but any organic potting soil will do. And what's the purpose of clay? Iron. Iron, iron, iron. Also, it's really good for the roots to latch onto, and it also helps out with bacteria. It's got a lot of good minerals and stuff in it that is really good for your plants. So, clay's the way to go. Dustin, he always said if I could find iron, I'd put iron in my tank. And he actually did one day, found some pure iron ore and put that in his tank. So, I mean, it'll bump. But, the clay is very, very important. So, I think that was it. There's one more question I'm forgetting, Sam. I can't remember what it was. But I hope I kind of answered it. But I did want to show you guys this real quick. So here's how I fill up my tank, right? I'll put a 5-gallon bucket, on something that's higher than my tank. Put a 5-gallon bucket up here, fill it with water, and dechlorinated water. Oh yeah, that's the other thing. So when you fill it up the first time, right, you don't have to use dechlorinated water. I would. On a 20-gallon tank, it's only a couple drops. You should do it. Why not? And then, if you have plants in here, you definitely have to dechlorinate the water. Once there's plants going to touch that water, you need to dechlorinate it. So I would just dechlorinate the whole thing, if you're doing a 20-gallon. If you were doing like a 125-gallon and it takes a bunch of, dechlorinator to do that, and maybe don't dechlorinate it, but dechlorinate it. And how I fill my tank up, so I've got this dresser sitting next to it, right, which helps me out a bunch. But if you don't have that, you could use like a chair, table, stool, something like that. Something where you can get it a little bit higher, right? Stick a 5-gallon bucket. Like I stuck a 5-gallon bucket on there, took my gravel siphon, stuck it down in the bucket, and use this end, put this end, in the tank, and just let it fill up. And I tied a knot in it, right? It's very important because you want it to fill up super, super, super slow, right? Super slow. So I tied a knot in it so that way it would fill up super slow. Let me see if I can show you this really quick here. So, let's see here. Come on. Give me 1 second here, guys. So you want it to trickle, right, about, well, a little bit more than that, I'd say. But about like that. That's about how fast it should be coming out of there, right? Maybe a little bit faster, but not quite. Not by very much, So that's how much you want it to do. That's why you want it to be slow. So you tie a knot in it and you just siphon it, right? When this bucket gets low on water, I grab another bucket, fill it up with water, come in, pour that water in this bucket, and I'm done, right? I just, every 10 minutes, every 15 minutes or whatever, fill it up super slowly, drain it just as normal, and do the process over again. So that's how I do that. Man, I got to figure out if you can upload videos more than 15 minutes on fishtanktv.com. But yeah, so that's how I do that, and I would dechlorinate it both times. It's not a problem to throw a few drops of water in a 5-gallon bucket, you know what I'm saying? So, and that's just a 2 buckets. That's all you need is 2 buckets. So, 20-gallon tank, I think you're looking at maybe 3 bucketfuls, something like that. Usually it's a little bit less than like, 5-gallon bucket. It's not going to be a full 4 buckets. It'd probably be about 3 buckets. Maybe just a tad bit more, like 3 1/4 or something. But if you guys got any questions, anything, I hope this helps. If you got any questions, let me know. I'll make you a video like I did Sam and another guy, but I can't remember his name. Ask questions. I'll help you out. I'll make a video. Let me know, though. You got to let me know.